Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
Ooh, man. Keith's even got the gong. I just can never get over that. Everybody who watches the show is going to have to deal with us gushing over the jingle. Welcome back. Today is Monday, October 28th. I hope you're ready for Halloween if you're somebody who celebrates. I know that I am not ready. I don't even have a costume this year. Can you believe it? I love Halloween. I love costume contests. If you've been hanging out on the show for a minute, you know, sometimes I'll show up like that. I'm practically dressed in a costume today. And if you are celebrating or if you're worried about the crypto markets, if you're up, if you're down, whether you're new or you've been here for a while, we're so glad you're here. This is our attempt to bring more helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions, the questions that you're embarrassed to ask, the questions that are too technical, the questions that seem silly. We're here for you. I see Will is backstage in the StreamYard. I'm going to bring him up, and I want to invite you to contribute. If you're not in the Discord yet, go ahead and jump in the Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. I'll put it on the screen for TikTok here in a second too. And let us know how we can help you. That's the best place to connect with us when the show is not live. Sorry, Will, I'm trying to figure you out. Hang on. Mr.
Hello. Evan, should I have my audio in StreamYard or TikTok? Because it was like echoey scratchy last time.
Let's do audio in TikTok. Mute the StreamYard and join us over on the TikTok. I'll go ahead and mute you, yeah? Or do you... He's just a disembodied voice, but really it's played by Will Watson. While Will's getting set up, I got to tell you, Will, man, I made a video yesterday, and it was just a response to something somebody said on one of my other videos, obviously, about Calvin Hill. They just said, I think Calvin Hill says different about a take I had. And I said, I made a whole video about how I'm really not that concerned with what Calvin Hill has to say, because his job in our space is really to be a marketer. And I got all kinds of feedback that was really very helpful. And people were like, man, no hate, no hate. And I think I made a hate disclaimer, but I think my tone made it sound like I was, genuinely upset or spending my life energy on somebody like Calvin Hill in a hateful direction. And I want to be clear. You can learn from a fool if you listen. And I don't even think Calvin Hill is a fool. But I think one of the things I love best about TikTok, in addition to creating discourse between people, is the feedback it gives us about ourselves. And so, we always want to tell a better story, share a more helpful message, and we all have room for improvement. So if I sounded like a hateful bastard, Calvin, man, I'm sorry.
It's because you are a hateful bastard, Evan.
You know.
Everybody knows that about you.
Well, the gig is up. The gig is up. How was your weekend, man?
That beanie and shawl and overall pleasant demeanor, it's not fooling anybody anymore.
Thank you. Yep.
Everybody knows hateful people wear shawls.
That would be a great commercial for shawls. The entity brand. No one hateful, man. Nobody hateful wears shawls. Product. Yeah, just shawls.
You can't be hateful if you are wearing a shawl.
Listen to this.
Proven by science.
In the comments, we're getting knock jokes. What do you call a sleepwalking nun? A Roman Catholic. Oh man, how do I not have I gotta add a rim shot to the soundboard. Will, how was your weekend? How are your I know you had a Halloween party, yeah?
Oh yeah. You had a good Halloween party. We all dressed up as, for the most part, meta SpongeBob characters.
Meta, like my leg guy?
Kinda, yes. Actually, kind of spot on. But I was the Quickster.
I don't remember the Quickster.
Well, the Quickster was a one-off character who SpongeBob put on one of the costumes of the sidekicks and other superheroes of Mermaid Man and Barbie.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The ability to run really fast. And then my girlfriend was Sexy Patrick. So she had an all pink leotard, but then the fishnet stockings, and then she made the pants. I had another friend who was Sandy. I had another friend who was the con man from the chocolate episode.
Oh my God.
So every morning I wake up and break my legs. Every afternoon I break my arms. He's like in like the full body cast because he had a broken foot. So he wrapped himself up in bandages. It was great. And then I had another friend who was Barnacle Boy, another friend who was Mermaid Man, another friend who was just Mr. Krabs. He took his girlfriend's lip gloss and just started covering his face in it. And then he had money sunglasses, and he just had red oven mitts. And it was great.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I put a lot of time and effort, and not a lot of time and effort, but I put a good amount. But I made my Quickster costume, and this is just the last final bit that I have from it.
Dude.
And I'll probably keep these forever. I ended up snapping them off because I was swing dancing my girlfriend and put my arm over my head and just knocked off both because I cut these out of styrofoam and made them myself. But yeah, and so you can see, like, I snapped them off. So I went to the bartender and I was like, do you have anything stabby? And she was like, why? And I was just like, I need to fix. And so now I just have like bar straws just like slammed through these to connect the styrofoam again. It's great.
Oh my God, Will, those are perfect, dude. They're absolutely perfect.
Ultimate top signal. Yeah. They were perfect. But yeah, dude, I love crafting stuff, dude. Building, like making nerdy shit. I fucking love it, man.
Okay, you got to give them a visual over on YouTube too. You got to give them the close up because they're absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's right.
The level of detail. I honestly, you know what it looked like? If you didn't get the Quickster reference, I forgot about the Quickster until you said that. That's a great reference. But if you forgot about the Quickster and I just saw you wearing those glasses, I'd be like, who's this, degenerate crypto creator? Everybody's always got their weird stuff. I've got, look at me.
No, it's like this is a character.
It's a character, man.
Yeah.
That's Will's bit.
Cosmic's on here. Cosmic. I don't know. Think of some bit we can do and I'll duet.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if Cosmic's on here, but I do see discussions with Evan that look suspiciously like Crypto Chad. And I gotta say, respect.
Yeah.
Man, I love that, dude. So it sounds like it was a great time.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a ton of fun. The only thing that I did not thread the needle on making sure my girlfriend was at the perfect level of drunk. We got her way too drunk, way too fast, and she ended up having to go home at like 8:30, 8:45.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, so that, it happens to the best of us. So that was unfortunate, but got her home safe and then went back out and kept partying. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah, man. Well,
and then, I also love, so I have now become the second most popular TikTok on my girlfriend's channel. She has one video that has 9.5 million views, and now I'm her second most popular at like 250,000, where we did the voiceover of the Quickster like in the streets of Boston, and it's good. It's good. If you want to see my costume, you can see the whole costume there. But it's so good. Actually, what's her name on TikTok? Oh, whatever. I posted it.
You don't even know what her name is on TikTok? Come on.
Girlfriend.
Oh my God. I saw that video. I was like, of course he got it. It was a great like destination sort of travel-y look, and there's Will.
Yeah. But that's it. And so now for like the rest of Halloween, probably this coming weekend, my girlfriend and I will just do something simple. Like I've one of my brothers coming in to visit from town, but with his wife, so it won't be anything too crazy.
Yeah.
This past weekend was like our big friend weekend, but we'll probably do like 1920s because I got like a 3-piece suit. I can just grab some of I have 3-piece suits. So I can just do
Why
that.
not?
Get the best little handkerchief and stuff. My girlfriend has like some 1920s stuff, and she looks great in 1920s gear. So we might just do that because it's easy.
I'm going to be honest and say I think a lot of people look great in 1920s gear, man. I can't wait to see the pictures. For everybody who's asking,
if you want to go see the TikTok, my girlfriend's TikTok is ultra_violets with 3 S's. And
okay.
I love this because I had to direct her TikTok, and she was like, damn, I've been in TikTok jail for so long. And I'm like, not anymore, baby. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And you can see like our friend group here. We had a Dennis. There was Sandy. We had Gary, a chum bucket slave. It was great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you want to see it, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching in the future on the recording, you got to go to ultra_violets with 3 S's. I can't read it. It's way too far. ultra_violet SSS. And you can see Will as the Quickster.
Yes, as I plug my baby girl's TikTok.
For the people who are curious, Alex is on the way. He had to make a vet run this morning. It was scheduled, so anticipated. He's texted me. He's alive. Don't worry, he hasn't gone anywhere. I will not belabor you with it, but I will show you quickly. This weekend, I got to do a little Halloween stuff. Not a ton, but I did have a really fun time. I play with an occasional 80s band called The Breakfast Club. And we played at this.
I like that you only associate yourself with morning-themed groups.
Yeah, that's basically my niche is morning-themed stuff. And we have such a fun time. Let me tell you what, the shtick is like, you know, because it's the Breakfast Club, that you're in detention with the Breakfast Club, you know. So I'm always inviting people to report to detention. I like to do a bit where I go out in the audience and ask people what they did to get detention in school. And one time a lady told me she set a toilet on fire. So like people always have really fun, cutesy answers, and I get to change my outfit about 6 times during the show. So it's kind of like Halloween, but
that is kind of like Halloween.
You know, we're doing
the same general vibe.
We're not doing anything big for Halloween here, but on the show we're doing some big stuff. We have the opportunity this week on After Dark to interview Dennis Porter, Bitcoin advocate, policy influencer, a true influencer, somebody who's been instrumental in helping us get of the regulation and policy we do have more helpful perspectives involved with legislation and more action from our government. And so we're going to have him on the After Dark show Wednesday, 7 p.m. And that's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be here on TikTok. We'll stream it all places and get his voice, and it'll be available afterwards too. But I'm excited about that, man. That won't be probably spooky scary. I don't know if we'll get candy.
Super interesting, because I want to hear about his experience of helping to push forward that like Bitcoin Bill of Rights in Pennsylvania.
He's going to have so much good stuff to talk about. We have to
also remember on Thursday, we're also talking to the chief commercial officer of Marinade Finance.
That's right.
Solana.
We haven't talked about it on the air yet. So will you pitch that too? That's our Halloween official. Yeah.
So on Halloween Day, I met the chief commercial officer of Marinade. Marinade is one of the largest lending protocols on Solana, or staking. No, staking. It's a staking protocol on Solana. They have over $1 billion of TVL, which is as big as all of Base.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And he also created the Bitcoin incubator at Fidelity in 2012.
So long time.
He was like, yeah, no, we started like experimenting with Bitcoin and running Bitcoin mines and stuff, like, or mining Bitcoin at Fidelity at 2012. And I was the guy who started it. And I was just like, whoa, 2012? Like, holy shit, Fidelity was in this game early.
Yeah.
Which tells you some things, right? It's interesting. And so he'll be on talking about how like institutions are actually looking specifically at Solana and to use Marinade to stake it, which is cool. And the conversations he's having with institutions, as well as the experience he's had in DeFi and all that kind of stuff. So that would be a cool conversation on Thursday.
That's fantastic. I want to give a special shout out and welcome to not Alex Popovich, but today has beat him to the show, Mr. Nick Junis. Nick, dude, how are you, man?
Oh, man, I am doing fantastic.
It's so early for you. You're not a morning person, man. Are you just up from last night working?
So I had like ragged sleep. Like I slept for a couple hours and then I woke up. And so I'm just catching. I was going to go back to sleep, but then I saw you're live and I was like, what are these guys doing, man?
This is
talking about Halloween costumes mostly.
Obviously, like some crazy whack. This is what goes on when I'm sleeping.
This is what you're missing, man. And you missed some fun stuff, but you also missed that we have some really killer discussions about crypto. And I was watching your video this morning, and you're the perfect guy to show up, because if you have a minute, I'd like to ask you a question or two about what you've been working on lately. But first, I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. People will go back, watch the recording. To this audience of people who may not be familiar with your work, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so back in So my crypto journey goes way back. Let's go back in time to the 2013 year after. So back then, when the Bitcoin and crypto was young, a guy came up to me and wanted to start the internet on the blockchain, and he started a project called Skycoin. And he was my roommate at the time, and Skycoin turned into a whole like thing. And he's in China now, doing God knows what. He was kidnapped at some point. He has like a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin, and now he's super rich. And
that doesn't suck.
Yeah. And so anyway, I was like still kicking around here, and I eventually got into Ethereum. And then I ended up making the first NFT app for the iPhone and the Android.
Oh, damn.
It was like the #1 app that, for NFTs that let people create NFTs in the both iPhone and Android. And that went on for about a couple years. And if you just search for NFT, you would find my app. It was called Receipt Coin. It turned into Receipt Chain. And I made a lot of friends in the NFT industry, like the Alex, whatever his name, the guy who started OpenSea. We used to talk on Discord before he got too rich for me. It's like a pattern.
It's a pattern. Well, Nick, I want to be around you so that I then become too rich.
It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. Trust me.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I'm working on a new thing I think is going to get a lot more people rich, except for me also. And I'm really excited about that. It's sort of funny because it's coming full circle to what got me on in crypto in the first place, like that Skycoin project. He was all about creating an internet for everyone to, hey, what's up, Machista?
Oh, good. Do you know Machiste? Because you guys should be friends if you're not.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Like I just had a video that's about at almost 1 million views on TikTok now, which is my first one to get that high. I'm super excited about it. It's the AI one where I'm talking about the study that Apple just released that says that basically our LLMs are not as good as we think they are.
Yeah, I saw that video. It was a great video.
Thanks.
Yeah,
like
man.
I totally ripped it off from a guy on YouTube, right? So I just summarized a really great video on YouTube, and I was like, hey, you guys should watch this video. The other one's 25 minutes long. Mine's 4 minutes long. So, and plus
easy pitch.
You can basically do arbitrage for like stuff on YouTube and bring it to TikTok if you want. It's probably a good business. But normally I like to talk about crypto, so the problem is, what's up, Alex? So my normal stuff, like people just don't really, it doesn't get a lot of attention. So I just did this one video, and I have a lot of other videos that like are not crypto related that have done pretty well.
Sure.
I made one about like Ray Liotta that for some reason blew up. But anyway, like, so what I've been working on lately is putting data directly on the blockchain and then being able to access it through your browser, so you can browse the blockchain with your web browser and use it just like the internet.
Yeah,
and
it's a big deal.
I think it's going to be like the next internet. I think it's going to be how people. It's going to be a place where you can put websites and data that you never have to worry about again, and that nobody can ever stop you from doing that.
Yeah, and just to frame it, we've talked to our audience a lot. We say that blockchain it's the future internet. It's transitioning the internet to an era of ownership, autonomy, freedom. You get it. But they're pretty hip to that. And I think people expect, when they encounter that kind of language, they expect a web browsing experience that gets those benefits. And that's been something that we really haven't had. And so to hear that people are making steps towards that, I saw Adriano's video about when he's like, this website, it's Onchain. And I've seen your work. I've heard from Devil King, who's watches our show a lot, is I know contributing to Technically Web. This is a technically Web3 endeavor, though, that you're like working with these people. Right. You're all contributing to build that. That's the vision to build, is your browsing experience, but it's got all the benefits of blockchain, right?
Yeah. So what's crazy is about a year ago, I made a TikTok video about something I called the blockchain transfer protocol. That's what I was calling it. And I think you probably liked it. Like a lot of people who are in crypto and TikTok saw that video, and it was about. I was saying that we need a protocol that allows people to look up HTML, basically like web data on the blockchain and view it. And I didn't, it never went anywhere. I just said like, we should probably have something like that. And then about a year later, I saw the technically Web3 guys, the CW3 guys, and Adriano. Is it Adriano or Adriana?
Adriano is his name.
T-Dubs. So T-Dubs over there, he started this project, and I was like, that is so reminiscent of what I was really hoping existed. And they'd done so much work on it already, and I was super excited. I was like, this is what I was hoping for, right? So I immediately jumped in and started like digging through all the code and everything, and I was like, where can I help? Where can I help? So I've just been basically trying to fill in all the blanks, because like the developers that they already have very similar skills to me. They're web developers, and a couple of the guys have smart contract backgrounds also. Mm-hmm. So like I've just been looking through the code and saying, okay, like we can do this. I can help here and there. And so the tool that I just finished, which I've been working on for the past week, is a tool that lets you basically hook up the regular domain names to the blockchain, to Web3 data. So you can basically take like whatever, anything.com, like mywebsite.com, and then have it serve data directly from the blockchain without touching any backend, a regular Web2 backend at all. It'll just, the browser will go to the domain. The domain will pick up there is a slight bit. The domain serves the connector tool that connects you to the blockchain. So
okay, and domain names for the most part, they aren't decentralized in that meaningful way yet. The same way.
Right. So that's the thing, is that Adriano created a browser that will also use the decentralized domain names. So that part is not decentralized if you use the tool that I'm using. The tool that I'm using is sort of just a gap filler for people who want to host like a traditional website with there's also benefits to just hosting the data from a traditional website on the blockchain.
Sure. Or probably the hybrid approaches even.
Yeah, it's sort of a hybrid approach, but then also I'm also working on a Google Chrome extension, which I actually finished already, but it's getting approved, and that lets you use the decentralized domains as well in Chrome.
Cool. Okay, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack there. I want to clarify just a couple questions for the audience, and then we got to welcome Alex because we missed you, man. This is web hosting a website on a blockchain, right? Because Cosmic's question, our friend, is can it be used for web hosting?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. That's going to be a huge business. Like there's going to be a new GoDaddy. There's going to be the technically Web3 guys want to do that as their first business endeavor. The way they're actually going to make money. The protocol is going to be all open source, and it's all public domain, free for everybody to use. But then there's going to be a bunch of businesses that are going to be started using this tech.
Okay, guys, questions? Alex, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and I knew you'd love to be here for a talk with Nick on such a honestly exciting and nerdy topic.
Well, I think also it just. Oh, sorry, Alex. I'm rugging your intro.
Rug him.
You are.
Yeah, but I was saying 2024 has been the year, I feel like, of we finally made the transition in 2023 away from TPS. Talking about TPS 2021, 2022 for projects. And then 2023 kind of a transition into now let's make this as much of a Web2 experience as possible. Let's take the blockchain stuff, put it in the back. You have the Coinbase wallet.
The Base token store was a good one. I mentioned Machiste in the comments. He built that.
Yep. Yeah. And now you have this, let's deliver a Web2 experience on the blockchain and basically just take the internet and start putting it here. Because it's like It's like ICP, but like this will be effective. Sorry, Nick Johnson, if you're here.
It's so flex. So what I'm hoping happens, or what will happen, because we already have like 95% of it done, is that it connects all the blockchains together. Also, so you choose where you want to host your data. Like you can host it on Polygon and when I jumped in, the first thing I did when I jumped in the group was like, we need to be able to host on Bitcoin also. So I showed them how the Ordinals protocol works, so that we can also access because Ordinals are actually already building websites on Bitcoin. There's a bunch of websites that are already like bundled, packaged HTML, JavaScript, etc. So this protocol just ties into that too. So from the same browser, you won't even know what blockchain you're looking at. So you'll hit a link and it'll take you to a Bitcoin website, and then another link and it'll take you to an Arbitrum website. And so now we're going to have the seamless experience for like all the blockchains working together and one seamless like blockchain internet, which is going to be, and then you'll be able to click a button and it'll do something on a smart contract, have a decentralized Uniswap. And then the government, it doesn't matter what the government thinks because they can't stop it at that point. Like you'll finally like make the website, the blockchain, like completely every facet of it will be decentralized. There won't even the client, you know.
Really quick, I'm going to rug you too, Alex, because there's a follow-up question that hits this perfectly. Can it be used, Nick, post slander, lies, the most deplorable versions of the internet, and then we can't take it down? And what are we going to do about that?
Yeah, so it's sort of a good with the bad situation. Like when you take the censorship off, you make it so like TikTok can't censor your videos about Palestine, right? Because now you can create social media tools that make it so governments can't limit. You see the Uyghurs in concentration camps in China, and that's not going to be censored out now, right? So the people have better information, but it's like being a mature adult. You get the good with the bad. But then if you want to protect people like children, for instance, then you have to do that in your tools. So if you're going to create tools that browse the new internet, the internet that has like a permanent record of everything that's happened, then you have to say, okay, well, kids are not allowed to see these things. And you have to create tools to sort of protect people in our like pupa stage.
Or even people like Uyghurs whose location data, demographic data, and other stuff might be etched on chain for anybody to find and weaponized.
So there's always this element of like in the tools we build, there's sort of this chain link fence element where it's like, for most people, they're not going to be like sorting through the data on the blockchain like themselves with like the binary bits and lines. They're not going to be like even understand how to do that. So there's going to be a lot of tools that we use to access that data. And those tools can be a lot more friendly than like if somebody puts, something really offensive on the blockchain or on a blockchain somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean that that in the tools that you use to access the data, it's showing you that stuff. That stuff is there for somebody to dig through and find, but it's not necessarily like being like pumped into your feed.
No, but it's important that the protocol at the bottom be open, censorless, permissionless, because that's when we can have freedom. We can build closed systems on top of that. Yeah. And Alex, I know you say that all the time too. Like it's okay to have a totally centralized thing on chain if that's what you want to do, as long as the foundation there is open. That's what gives, and that's what's different. People are saying people have done this before or this or that. You mentioned it's been done with ordinals on Bitcoin. What's interesting about this to me is that you're trying to connect all these different efforts, build something more open at a very foundational base level, a protocol level. And I'm excited about that. So Alex, I'm sorry I rugged you. You just got there. We're having a deep conversation. Where do you want to take it?
Well,
Alex, I'm going to rug you again. So no.
Yeah, to be fair, I got here 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I don't know.
Just lurking backstage, man.
The thing that I just always think about, just to be one of those people, I don't know. I think, just really quick side note disclosure for everyone watching. I don't know what this is doing to like my feed from TikTok every time my phone rings, but I like submitted a credit check a few days ago, and so my phone rings about once every 8 seconds from a telemarketer trying to sell me something, because the second you do that. So on this note of like, you know, privacy and security and relevance, there's a that was another one. That was
no,
actually
it's good. You're
seconds.
good. Doesn't do anything for you.
Dude, it's
don't let it fluster you
so much. What do you mean don't let it fluster me? My phone rings every 8 seconds and it has been for 6 days. Okay.
Took a dog to the vet. My phone's ringing off the hook. I'm 20
that.
minutes late to my goddamn intro. Listen, sorry, man.
No, I just all of this sounds like well and good, but there has to be like a plan, because I don't like it when people say if someone puts something offensive on the internet. It's the internet and we're humans, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how fucking quick is it going to be up there. Because we got to remember that the KKK and NAMBLA and people like that have websites and very active online communities. 4chan exists. There are horrendous things being spread all over the internet, barely checked as it is. And so the idea of a completely uncensored internet should absolutely fucking horrify people. Not to say that like there are not tons of examples. There's another one of, you know, really important things being squished by this, that, and the other. Like, that's important. But I do need everyone to at least acknowledge that you truly cannot even begin to fathom what is on the internet that could become much harder to get away from when we just open the floodgates of, and I hate saying it, censorship. And I say this as someone who has worked lightly tangentially next to people who use the internet for selling human beings and doing other stuff like that. So just like pause and think about it. When we all talk about how like we don't want our political hot takes to be flagged by algorithms when we post something racist, like think about the reasons that these, like, you know, these tools, these moderation tools exist. So obviously, Nick, I'm not saying anything that you're not hyper aware of, I'm sure. But obviously there has to be some safeguards here.
For weeks, trust me, like this has been running through my mind for weeks.
One thing that you could do also is like you have your open permissionless blockchain, right, where you can do everything and anything. Then on top of that, you have your tools. One of the cool things is like one of the biggest questions about, you know, when things get flagged or shadow banned on like YouTube or TikTok or, you know, Twitter, you know, I don't know, pick your social media. A lot of it is because like people don't know what the decision making is in those systems, right? People don't know. The only people who know are the people who are within the companies themselves. But if you have a tool that you build on the blockchain and you do make it open to be viewed, basically open source, right? You can have people look and see how the decision, like how those mechanisms are being built, right? And you can remove a lot of that confusion as to, you know, oh, did I actually, you know, break some rule, or is there something in the mechanism that grabbed something I said and maybe I just have to change that one thing, right? You know, like there's a little bit more understanding there. And I mean, like today on the internet, you can go and post whatever you want kind of anywhere. There's a space for you, no matter how holistic or negative it is. And that would be on this blockchain environment, it'd be the same, but just a little bit more extreme in either scenario. But you would also remove that uncertainty of, oh, like they're shadow banning me, it's cancel culture. It's like, no, actually you can have someone smart go and look and say, oh no, this mechanism is working this way. It picked up this thing, that's your answer, right?
Yeah. And actually what I think is going to happen, and I think this was eventually going to happen with Web 2 anyway, or maybe it wouldn't, but like I kind of think it would, is that we are eventually going to have more control of our own algorithms. Like right now we have one feed. We have like the feed that TikTok gives us, which is really the first version of social media. It's like a very primitive version of social media. Like we can't hop feeds. Like I can't say what's William's feed, what's Alex's feed. I want to see what's Alex's feeds for today. Like it's really weird how right now we just have one feed. Like I should have a list of feeds and be like, what feed do I want today? Right now, like it's a lot of that is the limitations of like our computing power, right? It's like TikTok is like gives us all one feed because like that it's expensive to create a feed for each person. And like it's really kind of weird how I can't see Evan's feed, like if I want to, like, hey Evan, can I borrow your feed for a moment?
Sure.
There's nothing that technically there's nothing like technically limiting to that. So I think that in the future, like it was inevitable that the amount of feeds we have opens up, and there would even become like a feed store, like the livestock store, like a feed store to like buy like feed is cool. And what this does, when you put the data on blockchains, what it does is it makes the raw material there for everybody. And I think that like accelerates this journey that we're going to be on, where people will censor, but they'll self-censor more often than not. So it's like you choose a feed that you think is appropriate for yourself, and then you'll know exactly how that feed works. You might have even bought that feed. You might pay a company for that feed, but the raw data will be there on the blockchain that the feed is sorting through. Like the AI might, like, you know, everybody might have AI that creates their feed. You might pay for some certain AI service to filter through all this junk that's on the blockchain and find the right feed for you. So I think that that's probably like the direction that, like, you know, like you were saying, William, it's more transparency. We'll see more transparency in the algorithms, or we'll pay a company specifically for that feed, or we might build our own tools,
or even pay an influencer. People want to see what's in my feed.
Yeah, exactly. You might pay an influencer. I was thinking that would be like, I was already building this social media app thing, and I was thinking one of the things that you would be really desirable is just to look at what your favorite influencers feed looks like.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And like that might be something you pay a subscription for, because you're like, that person must have a really awesome feed. Like I want to, you know, subscribe to that person's feed that they curate, right?
And then you buy it and you're just like, oh, it's a lot of feed.
But I could see many aspirational businesses doing that. You know what I mean? Like Kim Kardashian's feed would be Taylor Swift's feed. I don't know. Your favorite crypto influencer who's like, this is what I watch, learn what I know. Absolutely.
You don't want to see my
feed. And hey, real quick, for people who are just joining us, let me reframe this to say, if you missed the intro to this conversation, we're talking about the truly decentralized internet, where websites are on chain. They're hosted there, where eventually your domain will be there, where your traffic will be there. Everything is open, permissionless at a base layer, and people are building on top of it. Nick recently launched, it was a React website, right? Totally on chain, and has been contributing with some other friends he's connected with of ours at TW3, technically Web3, where they're working on building this kind of thing out. And I know that there's been talk about like, how does this idea grow? Adriano asked me a while back, you know, how do we think we could get funding? Could we sell a token? I think people want to contribute and participate. Can you tell us really quickly, Nick, how folks who are excited by this conversation can get more involved with that community, with you, with advancing this idea, if they are curious or concerned about it?
Yeah, if people search for technically Web3, they can find, I don't know if like, let me see if I can put it in like at TW3. I don't know if I can somehow put a link in here, but if people can look for,
if people are watching the show, they can connect with us for sure. Send one of us a message. I think enough people will see this. We have a lot of channels that we send this to. We'll at, what is it? I'll write it down.
It's at TW3. It's not like popping up for me when I just type it in here. If
I might have filters on to remove ats. Oh no, I totally don't, unless it's like a native reply.
Yeah, so maybe people can just go, if you go to like my videos, like I have that, my latest one is talking about it, and I tagged them in there. The Discord is a good place to start. I've had people just like message me saying like, how do I invest? Like, what do I invest? And I'm like, I don't know if we have anything we can buy right now. It's so funny because people always think I'm like selling something. I'm like, I'm not even selling anything. Like
that's why all your friends got rich.
The people around me rich.
I know, this is my problem. I need to start selling something, right? But like I am building a search engine for it, which I think is going to be really cool. That's something, but like, I'm not like, I don't have investors for it. It's just another thing I'm just coding. But if you go to the Discord, if people go to the Technically Web3 Discord, there's discussions in there on how we like monetize the organization itself. I think that they want to do an NFT drop, which I think would be really neat, because they want to do like NFTs that are also websites.
Okay.
So then like you would buy a collection like of these whatever 10,000 NFTs, but they're also the first NFT websites, which is sort of historic, right?
Yeah. Oh man, I have so many ideas for that. Like, I would love to go back to 1990 and do like, I don't know. You can buy one that is Ask Jeeves. You can buy one that is, but it's the new version. You know what I mean? Like old OG websites.
I haven't thought about Ask Jeeves in forever.
But like, even
The original
older than that, the
LLM.
Yahoo front page where it was just like a different web page every day kind of thing. That here's a new web page back when that would have been novel. That would be such a cool way to do it, is like create those sites to bring them into the future and then gift them as an NFT. I bet you could create a big stir like that.
That would be sweet. Yeah. Adriano's already working with some artists, and I think he's making some like backpacks.
I'm gonna have to call him. I'm gonna have to call him and tell him don't do 10,000 PFPs and one of them's got stoner eyes and one of them's got a chain. Don't do that. It's a great story. I'm gonna call him personally and tell him. Listen, man.
Tell him what to do. Tell him what to do. Like,
he was asking me about a while ago. He's like, what are the different legalities of like if we were launching a token to fund this? And I said, listen, man, number one, you got to get a lawyer. But number two, I said, there's a lot of things, venture capital.
Listen, man, number one, the way you did that stupid fucking Pokemon thing, illegal. Don't fucking do that again.
I'll have him call you too, Alex. Because there are a lot of people who I think would contribute capital to this, and it would be so cool if it was a ground level initiative that actually helped people, brought them into the community. Like, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, well, it would be great if there was some capital, because for instance, I spent the last 2 weeks working on this gateway. I call it WTTP gateway, and this browser extension, but I'm not getting paid for any of it. And I'm sort of skirting my other actual work that does pay me to do it. So that's unfortunate.
This is the way.
I get that.
Yeah. So that would be great if the developers could get paid for their time. But there's also other sort of satellite businesses that are going to spring up. And I think they want to do a GoDaddy kind of thing. And that would be a great place for venture capital to get involved, I think. There's just I feel like there's just gonna be every single regular traditional internet business is gonna have to migrate, is gonna have to do a Web3 version. Yeah. And so there's just an enormous amount of opportunities there. And I just want to also say that it's another really huge pro of all of this is that it's going to create a record of reality. And I think that is extremely relevant for right now, because what's happening is we are not going to know what's real and what's not real very soon.
Oh yeah.
Because of AI, right? The AI is rapidly approaching this AI singularity of making media perfect. I'm already starting to doubt what I'm seeing. Yeah. Right? I'm
perfect in the sense that it's beyond our ability visually or sensorily to discern. Right,
those
human or robot.
Just yesterday, my girlfriend and I were watching a TikTok, just going through one of our feeds together, and there was this it was an adorable otter that looked too adorable. We were like, I don't know if it's real, and then it said AI generated underneath. And we were oh, there it is. We were like the feet look too detailed. It was too good. Yeah. Good
yeah. And so we need to start putting our information on the blockchain so that we know what our actual real history was. Mm-hmm. Because we're getting to a point where the next generation is not going to know what was real history, what was made up photographs, and what was not made up photographs.
Yeah.
So we have to start putting this stuff on
oh my God, yeah,
infallible record so that people can say, okay, all that stuff that was put on during this time, if we can get everything online now on the blockchain now, then at least people can look back and say, well, they didn't even have the technology to make media this good at that time, so it's probably the real history. But if we wait too long, if we wait another year, another 2 years before we start putting all this media on the blockchain, nobody's going to know whether it was created by AI or not.
Oh my God.
I think it's really important. It's so important that we start putting our historical records on chain immediately.
Yeah, hugely. I totally agree with you.
Alex, did you have a question? I thought I might have stepped on you.
You did, and I had something, and it's gone forever. It'll
Very
come back
sorry.
someday.
Oh,
It's
Very
okay. It was
sorry.
mostly Will. It was mostly Will stepping on me.
We have a bunch of other questions in the comments about like, you know, self-custody options for hosting, domain names. And I'm kind of curious, just generally speaking, if like, I think it sounds like technically Web3 is going to do, you know, you said you want to do like the GoDaddy thing is like a part of the vision, but is that, I don't know, is that the way that people can truly be custodians themselves? Like, is there a way to facilitate and offer that service and also not be in some way the central power that I'm relying on and trusting to do what's good for me? Or will we eventually move beyond that?
Well, they already have a tool that helps you deploy a website. You don't have to like go through them. You can just download the GitHub tool and just deploy a website directly. And so when they want to make this GoDaddy like service, I don't think it's going to actually like be centralized in the sense that you have to like once you deploy through them, you're not like, you know, reliant on them. They're not the gateway for you.
And what about alterations or changes? Because I've seen that question a couple times. The blockchain is immutable. So if I want to update my name because I made a typo on my bio for my website, like how does that work?
Yeah, so it's just actually really cool. So at the actual like contract address, like the contract and then / and then it pulls up like whatever the index is for that smart contract. You can update that. You can change the data that's pulled by that address. The old data will still be like in the record of transactions back in historical records, but you can go ahead and put new data up that is connected to that address. So people can still keep going to the same address and you can make updates. And in fact, you don't need to update the entire website at once. You can update just like individual chunks of the website. So it's pretty efficient.
And then somebody asked, how is this different than my GitHub through Vercel? Let me see. If my repo is already deployed from Vercel through GitHub, how is this different?
Wow, it's almost identical to Vercel, actually. It's just like the tool that Adriano and the Technically Web3 guys made, I think his name is like TW4Father or something, made a React deploying tool that looks almost identical to when you deploy a Vercel like Next.js website. Theirs uses regular React right now, so you just like, it's a create React app. And you use like npx create Web3 app. They made an npx project for it. So you can actually like just use this tool and create a starter React site. And then you could migrate your regular React site into that npx created. They call it Web 4 React. If someone wants to do it, like you can DM me and I'll send you the project information so you can actually use the npx tool to deploy a website and then to deploy a React website onto the blockchain. And you put in like your Polygon private key and you have to like fund your Polygon wallet, and then like it just uses that Polygon wallet to deploy onto Polygon, or you can use Arbitrum. And then you could edit that project and make it your regular React. It's not Next.js. That's probably the next one, is they have to do like Next.js, which is what he was talking about with Vercel. But you could do with a regular React project right now.
Man, over my head for sure.
Well, you were nodding like you knew exactly what I'm talking about.
But what I mean to say is I follow, but that's not my sandbox. I just watch and I'm like, look at the kids out there, you know, playing the little games. Like,
but it will get easier. Like, yeah, that's the very complicated version of it for now. That is like if you're a developer, if you're like, you know, if you use Nextcell or Next.js or whatever, like that's the way you can do it. But in the future, it's going to be GoDaddy-like for people for sure.
Okay, I got it. Well, listen, Nick,
when do you see that future?
Months, you know, like definitely not years, like 3 or 4 months, there'll be tools like for that anybody can go to a Web 2 website and deploy a Web 3 website.
Okay, nice. And if people want to stay up to date on that, obviously go follow Technically Web 3, but where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys are having some viewers on YouTube, but everybody who's on TikTok can just find me on TikTok. I have my DMs open. Anybody can DM me. I guess there's like some people prevent that, but I'm like, anybody just DM me, guys. Like, just find me on TikTok, add me as a friend on TikTok. I love it when I have humans as friends. Most of my followers are bots. You know, they're not very interesting. So just add me. And if you're on YouTube, look me up at Nick Junes on at Nick Junes on TikTok.
Man, killer. We will definitely connect people to you and to Technically Web3, and I'm sure we'll get to talk about this again soon. Nick, if you want to stay and hang out, I mean, you guys, if you have further questions, we can do it. I see people generally, like I said, we do a little news, a little commentary, and answers to people's crypto questions, in addition to like timely topics with expert guests like this. So I've seen a lot of questions about Bitcoin, etc. And if you want to hang out, we'd love to have you.
Well, I mean, I'm exhausted.
It's early.
Right,
you're tired.
and like I'm just like barely hanging on. So probably gonna want to eat a little bit, and then but I'll come back on another time, and we can talk more about this. I'm really super excited about it, and we're going to be making a lot of developments, and hopefully it'll be way easier to get people involved the next time I see you guys.
Man, we would love that. Thank you very much for taking
really
time.
Nice with you.
Yeah, cool. All right, see you guys.
Bye. Yeah, poor Nick. Alex, before you got here, was like, yeah, he's been sleeping on and off, and we just gave him a deposition. He rolled out of bed right to a like straight up interview.
He did that to himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how cool, right?
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. Only on the Rise Up Morning Show, ladies and gentlemen. And you can join us if you're just seeing us for the first time every day, Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're on TikTok. We're streaming on YouTube. We're from Alex's Twitter. We're on Unlonely. And when the show is off the air, we live in Discord at discord.gg/riseup. Got a ton of free educational resources there. We've got live courses, coachings that you can take, and we're working all the time to make it easier for you to get helpful crypto educational content. If you've got feedback, questions, suggestions, good jokes, words or wisdom, leave them in the comments or in the Discord. The only thing missing there is you. Alex, welcome back to the show.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man.
Hey, Alex, good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Did you have an okay morning and a good weekend? I know you were busy this weekend. You had a lot going on.
Well, considering that I basically have 2 full-time jobs right now, yes, I was very busy. I am very busy.
And a family and a bunch of dogs and
Except
5
I don't
dogs.
have a family and dogs, so I just have the 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, I love Nick's comment about jobs we're actively not working on.
Are wearing his ass out.
Yeah, super fun. I love that this is a thing now. I was chewing out someone at the bank, and he was like, "It's not me," and I'm like, "I don't give a shit. You guys pull the trigger."
Right, you did this to me.
I don't think you realize how ornery you made me.
This is one of those things that this is like a problem that I feel like all of us could commiserate about, like, unwanted phone calls from like mass market telemarketing, number banks and stuff. And the fact that like no longer, can you take yourself off of that list, and no longer do people face really any consequences for not respecting your wishes to not be called 9,000 times a day.
It is. You can sue them.
Yeah,
you take a screenshot of all the phone calls and then you sue them. And then you get
good luck with that, William.
Sounds easy.
Yeah. No, I mean, they did it to the Buffalo Bills not too long ago. They lost like $100 million lawsuit. It was hilarious.
And also another one is apparently if you can't unsubscribe from emails. So I have thought a number of times about going through all my spam junk emails and just unsubscribing finally because I need to do it. But then surely there'll be 1 or 2 that I can not unsubscribe from because their intern sucks. And maybe that's how we fund the show, Alex.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you don't have to actually go through a lawsuit. You just threaten to serve them papers, and then you do get taken off the list.
No, I'm looking for that lawsuit money. Go ahead, Al.
I'm looking for that. Yeah, but sometimes it's not worth the effort. However, it is fun to serve someone. That's a good time. Everyone should do it at least once.
Like actually serve them the papers, like being the person who knocks?
Yeah.
Like Heisenberg?
Yeah. No, I had I was in a friend group that went to it was like a bachelor party in New Orleans, and we were popping bottles, and it was on my tab and another tab, and through the weekend there was one dude who I didn't know, but like everyone Venmoed me back, and he didn't Venmo me back. I was like, all right, whatever. And then like a week goes by, I hit him up. I'm like, hey, dude, you owe me It was like something like $1,800 or something like that. Hey man, you owe me like $1,800. Like, come on. And then like a month goes by, and then I'm hitting up his friends to like get me paid back. And I'm like, oh, I'll get this money back eventually. And then like 6 or 7 months go by, and I hit up one of my friends who's an attorney, and I was like, hey, I need you to serve up papers. And I was like, and this is the evidence I have of all these screenshots of conversations. I was like, will this hold up in court? And he was like, yeah, it'll absolutely hold up in court. So I served him papers. I sued him to give me my money back, and then he just paid me back the money, and I got rid of the lawsuit.
Easy peasy,
And
Charlie
I was just
Brown.
like, good, this mooch. Oh, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I recommend everyone should do that at least once.
Sounds thrilling, truly.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Okay, if you've got crypto questions, this is the place for them. We will not serve you papers. We will serve you answers to the best of our ability. Alex, I think you and I latched onto the same one. You want to take this in the comments?
Sure. Yeah. So, this is one of the things I've made several videos about this over the months and the years. Probably due for a refresher, but the biggest thing to remember when you're looking at something that is burning supply, whether it's there's no such thing as burning circulating supply. You have to like opt into that, so there could either be a mechanism wherein, you burn by default as you do things. This is how ETH works now. To where, when you do a transaction, a little bit of ETH gets burnt, and the flow of that sort of dictates how inflationary, or if ETH is inflationary at all. And you can track that live in a bunch of different websites. So that's an example of like one, ecosystem using a standard mechanism to burn. But then the way that you might be referring to it, and the way that it is commonly marketed, is bullshit tokens telling you that they're going to increase demand by reducing supply, which is, fun fact, Econ 101, not how that works.
Not how that works.
Yeah, taking away the supply of a pile of bullshit doesn't mean that it's suddenly in higher demand. It just means there is a little bit less bullshit. So just be careful with that, because it's an incredibly common tactic to market garbage to you. You'll notice that like people who are selling you trash will sometimes advertise that like, hey, I'm about to throw some of this trash away. It doesn't mean that the thing they're holding is any less trash-like. It just means that, there is a little bit less. The other thing to keep in mind is that whenever you create a token, you set the supply. Whoever mints the thing decides how much they want to make. So you're making a meme, just set the supply to a quadrillion so that you can advertise how you're going to burn 1 trillion tokens a month, for the next couple of years. Not, forgetting to mention that, I could do this for 1,000 consecutive months. It doesn't matter. It's just a marketing tactic. So 2 different ways to recap on my rant, 2 different ways you can have a burn. The way that ETH does it, which kind of makes more sense, we're in using the network. I have my own personal disagreements with burning tokens, but that's another topic, I guess. Or it's just a marketing tactic for people to sell you trash by pretending that it makes demand go up.
Did you see recently that Crypto Pits apparently got bought out by someone? This is an old NFT project for people who don't know. Elrond Multiverse X, been around for a couple of years, and somebody bought him, and he launched an initiative where for the next X days,
somebody paid money for that.
Somebody paid money for that, and here's what they did.
Recently?
They started tweeting. I don't know if they paid money. I don't know the conditions of the deal, but ownership has changed to a guy, I think, whose Twitter handle is Crypto Kingdom, who has been aggressively tweeting, and the community has been re-engaged. And his initiative was, we're going to do a burn where every person who buys an NFT, we're going to burn 1 million tokens. They have a derivative token for their NFT collection. The token is called Bones. And everybody who buys a Crypto Pits NFT, we will burn 1 million Bones tokens. There are 1 billion. And then it turned out people bought 109 of these NFTs. So they burned 109 million tokens, about 11% of the supply. And that immediately, the effect it had, because he had captured attention beforehand, I think, and re-engaged some people, they got the revenue from the NFTs. They probably got alerted to that. The Bones tokens were burned. And so if there is a subsequent increase in demand, people will, the price will go up more quickly. Presumably there's less tokens to spread it across. But what I'm interested to see, this is like 2 days ago, they burned this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody just sold their tokens and just tanked it. Like, why wouldn't you sell when your token is worth 11% more?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Easy arbitrage opportunity.
Well, the whales will, but then everyone else who buys in will hold on thinking it's going to go up. It's the classic tail of crypto.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Shiba does. Shiba does meme burns all the time. I would counter, Alex, to something like Ethereum, where the burn is still on some level up to the decision of a person to meter it versus like Bitcoin, which is totally code. But I think it's pretty sufficiently decentralized, and I would be interested to see how that can lead to like a sustainable, because ETH is valuable. It's ETH. It's a valuable network. What do you think about burns like that? Or burns on like Cardano? I think, aren't there emissions on Cardano somehow with transactions? I'm misremembering. Those are technically burns also.
Yeah, I'm generally not a fan. I mean, I know we've talked about this before. I think burning tokens is fucking stupid because you're shooting yourself in the foot for no reason. Like, actually, that's a lie. What that says to me when I look at like a token burn mechanism in general, and this is an opinion, I'm very comfortable arguing about this. I've developed this opinion over years of observing all of this stuff and the way that it works, and blah blah blah. I cannot understand why, if you have a thing that you maintain is utilitarian, you have a token that is meant to do something, and success for you looks like more people having it and using it. Tech CEO Crypto Bastard burns his tokens because of a marketing. It's marketing. It's a marketing tactic.
He's trying to make people think they're more scarce.
It doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
He created the entire supply, so he can burn whatever he wants, and it doesn't cost him anything. Anyway, if you have a token that's like utilitarian and you want more people to have it and use it, why would you ever destroy it? Like, at its core, that's the argument. It makes no sense. So essentially what you're talking about here is like manipulating the price action of your token in the short term and calling that the most important thing for you, not the longevity or the sustainability or like the decentralization or any of these other kinds of things. Like, if you have a token that is utilitarian, what you should ultimately want is as many people as humanly possible to get it and use it. And if you keep trying to make it more expensive by manipulating price, by burning stuff, by deleting supply, you are fighting against two of those things, which makes it harder to get and less plentiful. And that doesn't make any goddamn sense if you want it to be held by people. Now, if what you want is to manipulate price action in the short term to swing trade and to make money, then it makes total sense. And so that's the way that you need to look at anyone who's burning tokens. They don't want people to have it. They want to make money with it. And that's the thing. So, an influencer who makes a meme token burns it because they are superficial, project founders at best. They've never looked beyond the general way that things go. And they know that, hey, big memes burn stuff. That means I should burn stuff too. But it's like I said, if you build a pile of trash and present it to the world and then take some of the garbage away and burn it, you're still holding and offering trash to the rest of the world. Like, just because you got rid of some of it doesn't mean the thing you're holding is suddenly now good. So SHIB is not increasing demand by burning. They're trying to increase price by tricking people into thinking that it's now worth more because they've deleted some. But keep in mind, their starting supply was a quadrillion. So,
yeah, well, I mean, and I disagree with you, Alex, on this. Even though I agree with a lot of it, because most any token that has a burn, it's just a marketing tactic. But then again, that's 99% of all cryptos. So it's not that, I would say, in all those projects, the burn mechanic is the marketing project and the money grab. The entire ethos of the crypto is a money grab thing, right? But I think Ethereum does it the best because they have an unlimited supply. So supply of ETH will keep coming out. Then you have the burn. So in case you guys don't know, there's a mechanic. As you use Ethereum, a portion of the transaction gets burned, right? Because the thing is if you really want longevity, you want a project to be around for forever, if you keep burning supply, eventually you'd lose all of your supply. Eventually, right? It may take a really long time, but eventually you would burn all of your supply. But in the medium to long medium time frame, your project would work totally fine because the project's tokens can be fractionalized. But that's why I think Ethereum can do it the best, because there's an unlimited supply that keeps getting added to balance out the burn mechanic burning. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, bear market, bull market, so you don't really have to worry about the supply of Ethereum one day being gone, because it's always adding. But the thing is there is nothing more effective in marketing than number go up, right? And if you can do something by adding a burn mechanic onto something like an Ethereum, where you still have supply being added and increased, you are now using it purely as a marketing tactic, right? Ethereum's using the burn purely as a marketing tactic. I
don't think Ethereum's using the burn as a marketing tactic.
Yeah, because even Vitalik didn't even like it. He's like, Vitalik was on record being like, I don't want this, but you guys want it, so like here it is, like whatever.
Well, but I think they wanted it. I think the community wanted. My understanding in the ETH community, but my understanding is it was not a marketing tactic for value. That maybe is what investors thought. But the people who are developing the Ethereum protocol, like the real ETH people, I think they wanted it, the ability to issue and the ability to burn, because they're really concerned about Bitcoin has this problem where once the supply is released, there is a question of whether or not the fees, the activity, the revenue generated will be a significant enough incentive to keep people interested in validating blocks and keep the network going. And my understanding is that this mechanism is part of the Ethereum because people want to have the ability to control that and want to continue decentralizing over time so that they avoid, half of them are concerned that this sets up another Federal Reserve. People who are allowed and change money, and on a long enough time frame they'll do it for bad things. But I understand that they want to continue decentralizing over time so that a sufficient network of operators who are incentivized to cooperate can manage the sustainability of things like revenue generated to keep people coming to secure and validate the protocol. Like, to me, when I ask Alex about like why he's against all instances of burning, that's what I'm thinking of. And I am against that, like spiritually. I like that the Bitcoin code is kind of the thing, but everything is a social game. There will always be social consensus around all of it on some level. So I think the burning there is betting on the good of people and the long-term future of Ethereum.
Yeah, to me, as a corporate guy, I just view it as a marketing tactic. So I view it 100% Alex in the way you do it, where it is in every instance a marketing tactic at its core, and it's not useful, right? And I am first and foremost an investor as opposed to someone who's looking at blockchain to use decentralized applications. I am, and I do, but first and foremost, I'm an investor, right? So, as a marketing tactic, as a business, there's a value there. As an investor, there's a value there, even if you just want to speculate on stuff.
But that's like saying that Apple Computer builds good computers as a marketing tactic. Like, the fundamental product is what makes it investable, and the network is the product, which the token carries value for in a. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see about the difference?
No, I don't. Can you say that again?
You wouldn't say that Apple building good computers or new phones is a marketing tactic. You might talk about the rate of release as a marketing tactic, but that's their product is what makes them an investable company that leads to a need for marketing. And what I'm saying is, I think the burn for Ethereum is their equivalent of building a good computer for Apple. It is part of the mechanic that will allow them to have a network that they think is worth investing in. I'm saying I don't think at that level it is.
How does the burn improve the product? How does
Yes.
the burn improve?
Well, did you hear me just a second ago when I was talking about the incentive for validators? I went on a whole rant about it.
Yes, I did, but I don't necessarily
You don't buy it.
agree.
No.
What will sustain? What will, if the token's not valuable, then why would somebody keep mining? Like, what is the reward for spending all this money on electricity and maintaining these computers? Like, why would I do that?
That's my point. That's my point. That the incentive to continue to do it, I'm not saying that we don't want these things to be valuable. My point is that when you specifically burn the supply, which is pointless, you're not you're not doing anything. Like look at it. Let's stick with Ethereum as the example here with the burning of Ether. Okay, what is actually being achieved by Ether burning as a result of the transaction? Not talking about validators being paid for their, yes, exactly. It makes people feel good because they can look at the inflation rate of Ether going down and they feel better about it because they're looking at it as an investment. I don't think that it changes anything in terms of validators earning fees for validating transactions and processing.
I think that assumes the primary purpose of the Ethereum token is as an investment, and I fundamentally disagree. The primary token is that it is a product to pay and incentivize validators.
Great. Okay. So I agree with that. Why do we need to destroy any of it? Why can't we just pay the validators and then stop destroying it? We don't need to destroy it.
Adding on top of that, Evan, for what you said, it's like, yes, we want the token to be valuable to pay the validators. But the thing is, the value shouldn't be coming from supply burn. That the value should be coming from all of the great things that are being built on Ethereum, bringing people on to then want and need the supply of Ethereum. And then that helps to reward the validators more for validating a network whose product, and the actual product being the network providing to developers to then build the cool stuff, is bringing the people on. That to me is the value, and the supply is just the supply. You know, it's just there. And then so that's where I'm at.
I don't know.
To me, the product is the dApps on Ethereum and the ability to build on it.
But why? Here's the thing, though. The Ethereum mechanics, the supply is meant to. It could, if there was no burning mechanism at all, the supply would grow indefinitely, which is fine. But it introduces a mechanic on the other end of like, I don't know. So I almost think it's necessitated by the unlimited supply.
I just categorically disagree, because while we should want the supply to increase as more people come onto the network and more people want it, like that's the thing. Like if what we're doing is talking about balancing supply and demand, you know, I wouldn't make the claim that the burn of Ether makes the network worse. My only point is that it's a marketing tactic.
That it's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. Yes, I believe wholeheartedly that it is just meant to make people feel more warm and fuzzy about holding it and investing in it. It's a tactic exclusively to bring investors. I don't think it does anything to enrich validators' lives.
I think investors in that case are validators.
That's fine. They can be both. And we can appeal to one side of them. But appealing to the validator side of it by burning, I don't think is a valid claim, personally.
Yeah, I think burning makes the token more of an investment, makes everything more of an investment as opposed to a product.
Even having a monetary token, I think, if we're going to argue it that way, I think just the fact that we live in a capital system makes it that way. Money is making the world go round. Those people need to buy groceries.
Everyone needs to be given something for services, you know.
I think it's just worth mentioning too, just because I know that we are sort of triggered by the word inflation. Inflation is not inherently a bad thing. It doesn't have to be bad. You can have too much of it.
Deflation is worse.
I disagree.
I think what I mean is, I think that the fact that we live in a system where inflation and deflation are factors we have to consider to like keep people alive, I think that's a flaw of the whole system. I think inflation is bad and deflation is bad. I think currency that can be debased is bad. I think it's asinine.
Yes, but now we're talking about two different things.
Right. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole. I'm saying if we live in this system, sure, it can be good, but can it really?
No. Okay. So
is capital punishment really good?
We've discovered a disagreement with Evan, which is
I know
momentous occasion.
It's funny. I thought I was going to start this. I started this thinking I was disagreeing with Alex, and then here we
are. But you're really
Yeah. So Nita is kind of touching on this thing that I'm sort of discussing right now. So inflationary by definition, something is inflationary if you are introducing more of it than you are removing. So, for example, Bitcoin, we are exclusively adding more to the circulating supply through mining. The total supply is capped. As it stands, there is an inflation of Bitcoin to the circulating supply based on the rate of mining. However, you also then need to factor in the amount of Bitcoin that gets lost due to misplaced private keys and dead people and that sort of stuff, right? So like there is a balance, and it's estimated that millions upon millions of Bitcoin are lost forever to people who took their private keys to the grave, wallets that are long lost and long locked,
not backed up, whatever.
When you're talking about Ether, you have to factor in all of those same things. So there is an inflation as people stake and more ETH is introduced. The same could be said about any network. And then there is an inherent deflationary tactic. With Ether, they burn it on every transaction. That adds deflation. And you can, like I said, you can live track the rate of inflation compared to the rate of deflation. And sometimes when the network is busy enough, it is exclusively deflationary. So it's not a constant rate. And then with other tokens, it sort of depends. You still, of course, have the idea of people losing tokens because they die or whatever. But lots of other projects have like way higher token, circulating supplies and all that sort of stuff. When you really strip it down to the core, I guess my core thesis here is that when you set a token supply and you set burn rates and you set inflation and deflation, all these sorts of things, and you set up the basic tokenomics of a project, what you're doing is trying to make it as appealing as possible to investors. That's my point. I think that if you truly had a token that you were like, I want everyone on earth to have 1 million of these things and use them all day to do this thing that I want people to do, and I don't care at all about the price, you would make a trillion, quadrillion of these things, and you would send them out to everyone who you possibly can. You would advertise, hey, anyone who makes a wallet on my network can just automatically get an airdrop of 1 billion of these tokens, and then go ahead and use it. The price would be real low, but everyone would have them. And if there was anything worthwhile doing with it, they would all do it. So there's a balance of these two forces that I'm just always struggling with: the battle for utility and true adoption, but the need to appease investors and make people money. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere, because that's just what a lot of people are here for, to get tokens and make money. And I maintain that those two forces are constantly butting heads, and they are not mutually beneficial. I guess that's my only point.
I like the money force.
Yeah.
The money force. Dude. That sounds like a group of superheroes right there.
Business.
Listen, I gotta say, I find it thrilling to disagree with you guys. I wish we did it more often. I'm gonna have to find my hottest,
it doesn't
wildest
happen often.
takes. No, it doesn't, and it makes the show more fun.
So
also,
really quick,
we're actually like way higher up on ETH. We're using ETH as like probably the best example of burn, because they have an unlimited supply also, to try to make that balance. We were just using it. That's the reason why we're using it as an example.
Go ahead, Alex. You were going to say?
Yeah, just a quick clarification. So Nita is asking, so why so down on ETH? I'm not down on ETH at all. I love Ethereum. I'm a huge Ethereum fan. All I'm saying is I just find the token burn unnecessary, which I think this is a thing I do like to do, because I think it's important to have conversations wherein we talk about things about networks that we like that are not great. And the only thing I can say is that this is what it looks like when people are not sycophantic maximalists.
You should have heard us talk about Solana 2 years ago, before we started to see them do cool stuff.
Oh, dude, I was shitting on Solana 2 years ago. And man, those videos look bad now.
Yeah, I changed my mind, man.
I mean, but that's the process, right? You acquire more information, which informs your opinion, which changes your mind. If you're not open to changing your mind when presented with new information, you're wasting everybody's time by sharing your opinion in the first place.
Now, guys, it's almost time to take our dogs and ponies off into the sunset, but I had one question that I thought we could ask and answer that I thought would be a quick one. Whoa, damn it, has been asking from the beginning. Thank you for being patient. Do you guys know anything about the blockchain game Medicaid?
I don't.
I saw the
comment. I tried thinking of it. I don't know anything about it. I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, so this might be what you do. Whoa, damn it, is maybe throw a post up in the forum or in one of the chats, and let's see what people can find about it. That's your homework and your challenge today as well. I'll give our feedback to Whoa, damn it. If you're not in the Discord, that's the link. That's the link if you're on YouTube. I'm Googling it, and it looks like it's a company. Alex, are you sure we haven't talked about this before? Medicaid?
I guarantee it's come up. I know they follow me.
Hey, look at you.
So there's that.
Next Stop Medicaid, their website says. And I don't know, it looks like a games.gg or like arcade or something. I don't know, what'd you call that, Alex? A studio?
Yeah. I just replied that I need to do more research. They're not one that I'm very familiar with, but I would definitely like follow over on X, because I know the Wolves DAO guys have made content about it and cover it, and there's good stuff out there.
Okay, there you go. And if you have a question about crypto, the best place to leave it is going to be in the Discord server after the show is going, because these comments, they'll disappear, and we would love to be able to make time to answer your question. Are there any questions that you're seeing? I do see one or two.
I wanted to just point out one little thing, and I have a number for everybody. There was a question just about, memes on the XRPL. And I said that I was categorically uninterested because there's no money over there, and there's no liquidity. So for comparison, without looking, I would like the two of you, and if one of you looked recently and you happen to know what the number is, then just tell me. Take a guess at the TVL on the XRPL.
Will, you go first.
$28,000.
Oh, no way.
But
yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say 50 million.
So first of all, Will is closer.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. By a lot, actually.
What? You're kidding me. TVL on the whole ledger is
Yeah.
okay. How about 5 million?
Now you're closer. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh
I
my
was
God.
so hoping it was below $100,000.
Could you imagine? Okay, what's the number, Alex?
14.6 million.
Oh
Wow.
my! Are you
For
kidding me?
comparison, let's look at a couple others and just compare TVL. So just in case you're not familiar with standard amounts of TVL on networks that have users. On DeFi Llama, the XRPL is so far down the list that if I scroll through the top bar, it does not come up. You have to search for it because you won't find it. So let's pick some weird shit that no one's ever heard of. Someone's heard of it because we're all nerds. Linea,
yeah, the testnet on ETH.
441 million.
Wow.
Mantle.
Another L2.
442 million. Cardano, 215 million.
Cardano?
Yeah. Merlin,
Mentioned.
143 million. Kaya, 53 million. Dude, EOS, a meme in and of itself. EOS has 120.2 million. So,
man, if you're not beating EOS. Whew.
So yeah, we've got XRPL with 14.6 million. And that right there is why I am not interested in anything happening on the XRPL. There is no money there.
I just get to add that into my laundry list of reasons as to why I don't like XRP. And I'll have an even bigger, deeper sigh as people ask me, what about XRP, Will? And I'll go,
yeah.
So, I mean, for comparison there, right? XRP as a token, $29.5 billion market cap. Whereas, I don't know, what were some of those weird little obscure ones that I just said?
EOS.
Mantle.
Oh,
yeah, perfect.
EOS, Mantle.
What's the EOS market cap? Just a cool 680 million.
Yeah. So
it's 60 times smaller than XRP's market cap, and like, what was that? Like
14
times?
yeah. Oh yeah.
8 to 10 times its TVL.
Yeah,
it's wild,
that's not good.
No,
it's not good. Not good.
Not good.
Not
that means
good.
what that means. So let's take a quick pause from just taking a shit on XRP. What does that actually mean in practice? It means that XRP has a tremendous number of bag holders, and none of them are doing anything with any of the tokens. That's what it means. It means that XRP only lives in people's wallets, and all of those people are just waiting for the price to go up so they can get the fuck out of there.
Not ideal.
No one's doing anything with it. That's what that means.
Yep, and Nick is right. It is a zombie chain.
Yeah. Ooh. Sorry, XRP. Listen, if that makes you well met, I say we go around, we get a final thought, and then we come back tomorrow feeling fresh. I already teased it at the beginning, but I want to tell you again that this week we have a great show. We have got
so good.
We've got Marinade coming to represent Thursday. We have got, well, not Marinade in official capacity. Nick is his name, right? Will
Hadley.
How could I forget the most? He of course he's been mining Bitcoin with Fidelity since 2012. His name is Hadley. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he lives in Rhode Island on a yacht. I already know it. So we're gonna have Hadley Stern from Marinade, CMO of Marinade. Thursday we're gonna have Dennis Porter, advocate, policy influencer, and Bitcoin bull on the show after dark, 7 p.m. And I am just so excited for that. Hopefully we can have Halloween costumes too. Maybe Dennis Porter will dress up as like the ghosts of Bitcoin's past, Bitcoin Cash or something. I don't know. But
I think that Dennis is going to come to the show as a guy who's hopping out of one meeting into the show and going straight into another meeting.
That's a terrifying costume.
That's the
my dreams are
busiest
haunted
man
by
I've
it.
ever met.
That's a horrifying costume.
There are people who like tell me that their schedule is slammed, and then I talk to Dennis, and Dennis is like, "Hey, dude, sorry. Like, I thought that I was going to be in this time zone, but actually I'm 14 hours behind now, and then I'm going to be on this side of the world in a day." This dude is busy, so getting him on the show is very exciting.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Well, that's my final thought. Is if you're not in the Discord, take a look at it. We just wrapped a great month of free live classes, and if you're like trying to get involved, you're trying to learn more about crypto, the best thing you can do is join a community. And why not join ours? We have a lot of fun together. We have people at all levels of experience, and we have a lot of very diversifying all the time resources to help you get started. It's overwhelming, but you can do it. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be a lot of fun. And if nothing else, see us back here on the show tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm not taking us out, man. I'm taking it to final thoughts. That's my final thought, bro. Give us yours.
Yeah. This is a really, 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 really impactful week with data. And it has to do with basically every major company you care about has an earnings report. But let's see. Let me go through this list here. Tuesday, U.S. consumer confidence. We don't really care too much about that. Jobs openings. Kind of care about that. Google and AMD will both be releasing earnings on Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Wednesday, we get payroll information, but the big thing is we get US Q3 GDP results. That is huge. And then also on Wednesday, Microsoft's earnings and Meta, Facebook's earnings. That's Wednesday. Thursday, initial jobless claims data, our regular weekly data that we always get, always impactful. Core PCE inflation data, impactful, but we care a little less about what inflation's doing right now. And then also Thursday, Apple and Amazon's earnings. And then on Friday, we get the U.S. jobs report for the month. That's big. And then we also get some more manufacturing data on Friday. So I would say keep your eyes on Wednesday for sure because of the GDP data. And then also the jobs report on Friday will be the biggest. But then throughout the week, we're just getting crazy important companies' earnings reports as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be good too. I think for the most part, it's all pretty good information.
Yeah, wow. And then of course, the United States presidential election is next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm going to vote early today because I'll be out of town.
That's wild. Dude, the time
it is wild, dude.
That is weird. Yeah,
I think it's
Twitter today, and it was just like, it's getting worse. It's getting worse the closer we get.
No, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Well, I just learned a horrifying fact from one of our dear friends in the audience that that Calvin Hill sells a newsletter for $3,000.
I'm sorry. What?
Is that real?
I too will now do that.
'Cause that's insane. First of all, our newsletter is free, so Evan, we are undercharging.
Oh my god.
Starting next week, our newsletter is going to $6,000.
$6,000 undercharging, but also, to be frank, undelivering. I was on a tear, just doing one every week and like having fun with it. And now it's become the occasional newsletter. When there's something important happening, I will send a newsletter, and I will keep it brief. It really is the best, briefest bits from our show. It turns into a not nuisance email that you can go back to and find all the links, all the tips, all the tricks that are worth mentioning or looking at, so that, you know, if your inbox doesn't really need one more thing, you can sign up for it without breaking your back.
All
have
I-
to pay me
Learn more about
$3,000.
the U.S. election so fast.
It's because
usually delays a little bit.
no, it's because I'm usually more tactful about saying the thing that's going to trip it, but literally just saying that E word, just say it one time. That's all it takes. Yeah. So anyway, final thought. Whatever's in that $3,000 newsletter, I would guarantee that you can learn it for free right here.
Oh yeah.
And I say
Yes.
that with all the love in the world for content creators who are making a living, because it's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. There's like that, you know, ivory tower on the hill that all of us look up to, and we're like, someday I'll make influencer money. There's like 6 people in that little tower, and I don't know how they do it.
And a lot of companies.
A lot of companies. It's just, it always comes down to that one little thing that I always say, Evan, if we just did a little bit of crime, we'd be killing it.
God, man. Well,
Speaking of which, my true final thought is just that, you know, with that E word looming, I am really excited to have sort of put the little cap on the, what I would call, great education that we've been able to share over the past how many months about how this stuff actually matters and where it's going to go, and, you know, how best to support the industry, and the fact that we want to see it thrive, and it's bipartisan and it is for everyone. I cannot wait to get Dennis here. But just the fact that all 3 of us got sponsored by Stand With Crypto is super exciting. It was definitely like,
I don't think people know about this. I haven't talked about it publicly yet, so you might have to give people context.
That's the thought. Just that it feels really cool. If you guys have seen the show before, you've seen the site. This is the one that I show on stream all the time, where you can like click into a politician and see their voting record about everything that touches crypto, whether they voted yay or nay on it, whether they've made any public statements about the industry, what those statements are, kind of collects all of that stuff. There's a whole bunch of really good information on that site. It's all free to access. You don't need to make an account or anything to read all about it, which is my favorite kind of sponsorship ever. It has nothing to sell, and it's just an educational resource with free information on it, which is the coolest thing ever. And it feels very good to say yes to a sponsorship like that. So you're going to see a few videos or 2 videos from each of us. I don't know exactly when they go live, but when they all get approved and posted, I'm assuming it'll be in the next couple days, because it
might even be today.
I gotta film mine today and send it over to them.
Yeah, and to be clear, this is not a show sponsorship, but we would like very much for them to sponsor the show in the future, and have pitched it to them. And wouldn't that be fun, is to do an official partnership to increase election literacy, to help people really get connected and make the most, because crypto's on the ballot, you know?
So I've been walking up to my final thought, but I had to give a little bit of context. My ask from all of you, if you've supported us this far, you are the reason that we were given the opportunity to do this sponsorship in the first place. The only reason that they're interested is because of this platform that we've built, which would not exist without all of you watching the show all the time. So thank you from all 3 of us for your constant support as we do that. Waking up and doing the show is like my favorite thing ever. And so it means a lot. And this is more than my 3rd final thought. This is probably like my 19th final thought.
Make it good.
When you see the videos, engage, leave a comment. It's super helpful. Ask questions. The more impactful conversations we can start out of those comment sections to lead into more videos, the better. I want to make sure that the Stand With Crypto and People First, the ones who facilitated this whole campaign and whatever, see us, they see the conversations that we inspire, they see the comments that get left, and then they want to work with us more because we've got midterms coming up. And to be honest, the midterms and congressional E-word are way more important than presidents, because Congress is the people who proposes the legislation and passes it and writes it and does all that stuff. Every impactful piece of crypto legislation has been born exclusively from Congress, not presidents. So as important as this big one is next Tuesday, there's a lot more coming, and there are so many people who have so many thoughts about it. And I'm just excited to teach more about it and work with them and share more. So there's my gigantic, monumental 18 final thoughts deep final thought.
Hey, man.
We made it, everyone. We got to the end of my final thoughts.
It was fantastic. If you've still got a lingering crypto question, then the best place to leave them is to follow our accounts. We only have these accounts. You will see lots of impersonators and scammers. Do not fall for them if they reach out to you. This is us. We are the real McCoy. We will never call you out by a DM publicly asking you if you want to make some money. What you need to do if you have a question is follow us, leave a comment under one of our videos, join the Discord server, ask it there, or join us again live as soon as tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Rise Up Morning Show. My friends, thanks for a great show. Until next time,